Isaac Watts wrote the now famous Christmas carol, Joy to the World, after he was inspired by Psalm 98. However, this psalm is far more than just inspiration for a song. It actually contains a prophecy about Jesus, and that's what I want to talk about in this video. I want to show you how Psalm 98 is a prophecy, or at least part of it, is a prophecy about Jesus, specifically his birth. Now, if you like the content of my channel, be sure and give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the little bell icon. You know the routine. This does help me with the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to share this video or any other video of mine, the sharing info is just down below. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at Psalm 98. Now, I'm sure most of you are quite familiar with this song.
Joy to the world, the Lord He is come. Let earth receive her King.
No, I can't dance. I'm sure many of you can dance far better than I ever will. But this song, written by Isaac Watts, is sung in churches all around the world this time of year at Christmas time, and it's been covered by countless artists. I'm sure you have your favorites, and I have mine. Now, when Watts wrote this song, he focused primarily on the second coming of Jesus and the aspect of and the command to praise Jesus. However, this psalm that inspired Isaac Watts' song, Joy to the World, actually does contain a prophecy about Jesus' birth. It's actually found in the first 3 verses, so we're going to be looking at Psalm 98, verses 1 through 3. In order to better understand this psalm, I just want to show you the basic structure of the psalm. Verses 1 through 3 focus on God revealing his salvation. Verses 4 through 8 talk about a call to joyous praise, and this is the main theme of the entire psalm. And verse 9 looks at God judging the world, and this takes place when Jesus returns at his second coming. Now, like I said, we're going to be looking at verses 1 through 3 because that is where the prophecy about Jesus' birth is found. So let's go ahead and read the text. O sing to the Lord a new song, for he has done marvelous things. His right hand and his holy arm have worked salvation for him. The Lord has made known his salvation. He has revealed his righteousness in the sight of the nations. He has remembered his steadfast love and faithfulness to the house of Israel. All the ends of the earth have seen the salvation of our God. To help show you that these 3 verses are actually a Christmas prophecy, first I want to show you how these verses point to Jesus, and second, I want to show you how the New Testament tells us that this was fulfilled at Jesus' birth. Now let's first look at how these verses point to Jesus. In verse 1 it says, his, or God's, right hand and his holy arm have worked salvation for him. Now in this verse, the right hand and the holy arm refer to the same thing. They refer to, in part, the means of salvation, but they refer specifically to the person who is salvation. And we see this in another Old Testament passage from the book of Isaiah. Isaiah 52:10 tells us, the Lord has bared his holy arm, there's that phrase holy arm once again, before the eyes of all the nations, and all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our God. So as you can see, both Isaiah and the Psalm refer to the holy arm or the right hand, who is the salvation of God being revealed to the whole world. So again, the question for us is, who is this person? And we see that in the New Testament. In the New Testament, we have many passages referring to this one who is salvation sitting at the right hand of God. One of the most clear is actually found in Hebrews. Hebrews 10:12 tells us, but when Christ had offered for all time a single sacrifice for sins, he sat down at the right hand of God. In other words, the right hand or holy arm of God is talking about Jesus Christ, the Messiah, the Son of God, God the Son, God incarnate. He is salvation. And we have many other passages that also talk about Jesus being at the right hand of the Father. They include Acts 2:33, Acts 5:31, Acts 7:55, Romans 8:34, Ephesians 1:20, Colossians 3:1, Hebrews 1:3, Hebrews 1:13, Hebrews 8:1, Hebrews 12:2, and 1 Peter 3:22. So as you can see, Psalm 98, when it talks about the right hand and holy arm of God being revealed, that right hand and holy arm is a prophetic reference to Jesus Christ. Now, how do we know that this is a prophecy about Jesus' birth? Well, we see that through language used in the psalm and an explanation offered in the New Testament. 3 times in Psalm 98, 1 through 3, it talks about God's salvation, Jesus, being revealed to the whole world. In verse 2, God has made known his salvation. He revealed his righteousness. And in verse 3, all the ends of the earth have seen God's salvation. So you can see in Psalm 98 that God will reveal his salvation, who is Jesus, to the whole world. And we learn from the New Testament that this occurred at Jesus' birth, that very first Christmas. Luke chapter 2 tells us many things about Jesus' birth. One of the things that it tells us is that after Jesus was born, Joseph and Mary brought Jesus to the temple in order to present him to the Lord and offer the required sacrifice. A man was there named Simeon who was promised by God that he would not die until he had physically seen God's salvation, until he had physically seen Messiah. When Simeon saw baby Jesus, he took Jesus in his arms and offered a prayer to the Lord. And this prayer tells us that Psalm 98 is a prophecy fulfilled at Jesus' birth. In Luke 2, verses 29 to 32, Simeon prays, "Lord, now you are letting your servant depart in peace according to your word. For my eyes have seen your salvation, that you have prepared in the presence of all peoples, a light for revelation to the Gentiles, and for glory to your people Israel." Now what's interesting is Simeon is quoting from Psalm 98, and this tells us that Psalm 98, which prophesies about God revealing his salvation to the whole world, was fulfilled at Jesus' birth. Simeon tells us that God has now shown the whole world his salvation. Thus, we can see that Psalm 98 is more than just an inspiration for joy to the world. It actually contains a prophecy about Christmas, about Jesus' birth. So let me bring all this home. Psalm 98 is far more than merely the inspiration behind the song Joy to the World. It actually includes a prophecy about Jesus' birth. Psalm 98 verses 1 through 3 tells us that God will reveal his salvation to the whole world. We learn from the New Testament that God's salvation is Jesus himself. We also learn from the New Testament that God revealed his salvation to the whole world at Jesus' birth, thus making Psalm 98, 1 through 3 a Christmas prophecy. So I pray that this Christmas you will joyously worship Jesus, that you will joyously praise Jesus, because Jesus is not just the means of salvation, Jesus is salvation. He told his disciples, "I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. No one comes to the Father but through me," indicating that not only is Jesus the means of salvation, but that Jesus is salvation, just as Psalm 98, 1 through 3 told us. If you like the content of my channel, be sure and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give the video a thumbs up. It does help with the algorithm. And if you want to share this video, the information is just down below. You can also follow me on social media, and I'll put those right over here and in the description down below. You'll notice a couple new ones. One of them is Parler, and the other one is Rumble. Check those out if you're on those platforms. So until next time, as I always say, I love you. Jesus loves you a whole lot more. So until next time, keep knowing, showing, and sharing the gospel of Jesus. If you enjoy the content on this channel, then check out the merch, MP3s, and more at johnrothra.com.